Hey y'all, how you doing? Happy Monday. Happy Tuesday. I am still in a blur. Just getting back in town last night from Atlanta. We did the Magical Mystic Crown of Excellence Expo this weekend, and it was absolutely amazing. Super duper lit. Had a great time, and I am now in recovery mode. So I wanted to hop on here though and talk about something that hit me last night while I was in the airport. And you know, I'm always constantly in communication with my spirit team. Like, it's like I'm talking to myself all throughout the day, right? And I'm talking to them, which are aspects of me throughout the day. So there's not a time that goes by that I'm not communicating with my spirit team. Like, I don't have specific times of the day that I talk to them. I'm always communicating with them. And so, as some of you know, you've heard me talk about, you know, I hit a lot of roadblocks while I was traveling this past 2 weeks. I was in DC and then I was in Atlanta. And so I just kept hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And I'm like, what is going on right now? So on my way to the airport last night or yesterday afternoon in Atlanta, I was on the phone with my guy, and I was like, well, I think I went through the worst of the worst, so I shouldn't have any more like bumps. You know what I mean? The trip is over with now, and everything should be good. How about I get to the airport, and I can't pull up my ticket. Confirmation code isn't working. I'm like, what's going on? So they send me over to the special services desk. Come to find out, long story short, my ticket had been canceled. I'm like, what? How did my ticket get canceled? So I had first booked a flight from LA straight to Atlanta, right? Then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna stop past DC first. So then I tried to change the flight, but the flight that I booked was non-refundable and I couldn't change it. It was like one of those basic economy flights, right? So I couldn't change it. So I called Delta and I was like, hey, is there a way that I can, do I need to book a whole new flight from Atlanta to LA? And they said, no, you'll be fine. All right, that leg of the trip is already done. So I booked LA to DC, then DC to Atlanta, and then I was supposed to come from Atlanta back to LA. Anyway, because I didn't do the first flight of the initial booking, they canceled the whole damn trip. They canceled the whole thing. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm like fuming because I'm like, listen, I have been through enough on this trip as it is. So I told the guy, I said, listen, I am not spending another night in ATL. I'm not spending another dime on this trip. I'm going home tonight, and that's that. And what I heard was, you're not supposed to be on this flight, because that flight was leaving at 6:24. I heard, you're not supposed to be on this flight right now. I'm like, whoa, is something going to happen to the flight? And what I heard very clearly was, it's not now, but it would have if you were on it. So that made me question. So I'm sitting there thinking like, all right, whoa, wait a minute. Like, does something crazy happen with like a combination, when like a combination of energies come together? Okay. Because a lot of times, you know, if you miss an event or you are running late for something, you know, I'm always like, well, I know it's happening for a reason. But when I got that download that, no, nothing's going to happen to that flight now that you're not on it, I was like, whoa, that's deep. Because it's not necessarily that I would have caused something, but what I got very clear is that the combination or the blends of energies that would have been on that same flight could have caused something catastrophic to happen. And I got very clearly that it would have been a catastrophe, right? That wasn't quite ready to go down, but it would have happened if I was on that flight, okay? So that led me to just kind of go down this rabbit hole of thinking and just talking to spirit. And I'm like, so when energies come together, they can create amazing things. Because I was at this beautiful event and all of these beautiful energies were in one place. And it was like the energy was high, the vibration was high. And, you know, people were selling their products and their services and just, you know, communing and sharing in this wonderful space, and everybody who was supposed to be there was there, right? But the same thing can happen when a combination of energies get together in a place or a space or what have you, and it can bring a catastrophic event, right? So when we think about when people die in plane crashes or explosions, or like there's a whole population of people that get wiped out from like earthquakes or big storms and things like that. Hey, y'all. The way we have to think about it is, okay, all of these people are in this same space at the same time, which has triggered or allowed that particular event to take place, okay? Because people, it's that time, you know what I mean? It's time for all of those people to have that experience, whether they die from it, whether they keep living or what have you, okay? It was time for them all to have that experience at once. So why am I saying all of this? Energy is everything. There's not one thing that does not have energy. Everything is energy, okay? So whenever we get like a nudge or something happens where we can't make a flight, right? Or we can't go to an event, or we're led to a place, it's important to follow those nudges. It's very, very important to do that. And it's important to yield to it and allow it to happen, even if it means it's going to be a catastrophic event, because it's time for the next level up. It's time for the next phase. It's time for you to go to the next part of your journey. All right. So I have learned to just be led by that. When I'm running late for something, I'm not trying to hurry up and get there. I'm like, you know what? This is happening in the perfect time. And I'm going to allow it to happen, because whatever needs to take place when I get to where I'm going is going to be perfectly ordered for my life and all of the people who are involved. And when you learn how to surrender yourself to those types of situations and those types of nudges, and you learn how to surrender yourself to the highest part of you, that's when you can really start trusting, no matter how it ends. A lot of people, the number one fear is death, okay? That's the number one fear. The majority of the population fears death. So if you can instill the fear of death in a person, or trigger the fear of death in a person, you can pretty much get them to do whatever the fuck you want them to do, okay? So when we think about surrendering, and the possibility of me surrendering means I could die, there's the other part of me that wants to maintain control. It's that part of me that wants to make sure that nothing bad happens, okay? When in fact, sometimes the so-called bad thing or catastrophic event needs to happen in order for my evolution, next steps in my journey, as well as for those who are left behind to have a certain experience as well. We all have agreed to be here for a reason. We all agreed to come and live out these expressions of spirit for a purpose, okay? We have all agreed to live the life that we live in right now. Whether you enjoying your life or not, you agreed to it and you created it. Now, there is this higher awareness, this higher part of you that does give you guidance, because you're in this human body, you're having a human experience, and you're going to have emotions, okay, that are signals and signs for you to follow to take you to your next destination, all right, as you're moving along this pathway. But there's also that part of us that knows that no matter how fearful we are, or how tired we are, or how ready to get home we are, that we have to surrender to it. See, I didn't know whether or not I was supposed to not be on that flight because something bad was going to happen or catastrophic was going to take place, or because I needed to be on the current flight so that something catastrophic could happen, right? I didn't know. Now, once I asked and dug a little deeper, I found out it's not my time yet, right? And I needed to get home. So this was the best flight for me to be on. But for me to be on that other flight, I would have mixed and blended with other energies that would have allowed for a certain thing to unfold, okay, that maybe I wasn't supposed to be a part of, and maybe that person or another person or 10 people weren't supposed to be a part of. See, we think that everything is supposed to end in, peachy, creamy ways, and it's not always. Sometimes stuff is supposed to end in catastrophe. Because it is in the catastrophe, and it is in the breaking down and the falling apart of things that new stuff can be birthed, that new things can come together, and new ideas can be born. So we have to be open to the catastrophe that's taking place around the world right now. There's so many natural disasters taking place around the world right now, okay? And it's a reason for that. Now, some people could say that there are people who are responsible for these catastrophes taking place, or whatever, or it's just natural disasters, or it's, because of God is making things happen, whatever it is. I say it's energy. I say that it's energy, and I say that we are operating off of a collective consciousness, because all of us are powerful creators, whether you are doing it intentionally or unintentionally. And there are certain things that we want to experience collectively as the collective. And because we have a core burning desire within us to have a certain experience, it triggers these different events that take place around the world in our own personal lives and globally, right? It triggers those things so that we can have those experiences. We are constantly creating. Nobody is pulling the strings. You understand? I know it feels like that sometimes, but nobody is really pulling the strings. We're all pulling the strings because we're all creating the strings. The more we talk about somebody is pulling the strings, guess what? The more we give power to the ones who think they got the strings to pull. There is not 1 minute in the day that you are not constantly creating. So you might as well learn how to consciously create. You might as well learn how to do it with intention. You might as well learn how to do it with focus. You might as well learn how to do it with power behind you and standing in power if you're going to be creating, right? And the first way you get that power built up in you is by getting to know yourself, is by coming into yourself and understanding energy and understanding what energy is, how it works, that is everywhere, that it can be manipulated, and that you have the power to manipulate it. You have the power to alter it. And some of us are altering it from a lower or a base level place of thinking. And some of us have surrendered and allowed the highest part of us to guide us through the manipulation of energy that we are doing constantly. See, I've decided to surrender to the highest part of me, to allow that part of me to guide the way I manipulate the energy. Because when I was relying on my ego, which is very, very useful, people talk about killing the ego. I don't want to kill my ego. My ego works for me. That's like me firing a vital part of my staff, right? Why would I do that? When I need that particular energy there to assist me in other parts and areas of my life. Y'all need to share this video. If you want to hear, share the video, please. Okay? Why would I kill off a vital part of me? If I feel like that part of me is in conflict with the part of me that desires more or wants to have a different experience, wouldn't it behoove me to understand that part of me more and understand how the mechanics of it so that I can learn how to make that part work for me on my behalf to bring forth the benefits that I am seeking? Because when you work collectively as one with yourself, when all of you is present, clear, and on board, and everybody understands what the mission is, that's when you see results. That's when you have you're able to navigate through life no matter how bumpy it is. Because my trip was bumpy as hell, but along the way was some beautiful, miraculous, amazing things that took place. And I wouldn't change one thing. I would not change one thing. I had to get my computer fixed when I first landed in DC. I opened it up. First day I got there, screen had lines through it. I was like, okay. I think I must have I was kind of laying on my bag. I think that might have happened. Boom, $400. Gotta get the screen fixed because I have to work. I gotta work. I have to. I was still able to do work because my mom had 2 computers that I could use, which was great. And thankfully, we live in the technology age where everything's in the cloud now, so I could access everything. Some people are afraid of the cloud. I'm not. I'm grateful for it. Listen, if you can tap into some information that has a deep impact on my life, that lets me know that there is a crack in my foundation that I need to strengthen. Because if you can penetrate me through the cloud and it can destroy my whole life, then that means my protections are a little off, wobbly. Okay? That's all that is. That just lets me know, girl, you need to amp up your protection. So I ain't worrying about somebody getting into my files and hacking. Hack away, baby. Hack away. Because it ain't much you can do to me. It really isn't. Not much you can do to me. And even if something happens, it's not going to happen for long. Because the bounce back is quick and immediate. But that's because I understand energy. I understand how to transmute shit. I know how to make something that's like, oh Lord, and immediately flip it around, shift that perspective, and change the whole experience to make it flow in the direction that I want it to flow in. That's where we all need to be heading. That is the purpose of life. Like, if you ever been trying to find the meaning of life is to understand that you have the power to shape your world, to shape and create the world you want to see. You have the power to do that. And you can't shape and create the world I want to see. That's my responsibility. But if I love the world that you've shaped and created, and I'm like, damn, that's hot, I want to experience that, I get to choose and manipulate my energy to move closer to what you created, to your world, and experience that world with you. That's just 2 goddesses coming together and be like, girl, that's tight. I like what you did. I want to experience that. I like what you created over here. I want to have some of that. I want to feel that. I want to touch that. I want to purchase it. I want to experience it, right? But I can also choose not to. I can also choose to create it for myself if I want to. When you operating in that space, you're operating in true sovereignty. That's what you're operating in. That's when you are feeling like nothing can hurt me, not even death itself, not even me coming up out of this human body. Nothing can hurt me. Nothing. I'm not afraid of coming out of this body. I dropped that fear a long time ago. And so now when things come up that scare me, I'm like, well, I feel like the scariest thing is probably death, and death ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? What's the worst that could happen? I leave this experience and I go off to have another experience that I don't even know about yet. And I trust that all of my experiences are going to be to my benefit. And I expect to have only the best experience, no matter what it feels like in the moment. I expect for everything to end up lining up for my highest and best good anyway. So why am I afraid to do this thing right here? Why am I afraid of the catastrophic event? Let it happen. Why am I afraid of missing my flight? Let it happen. See what else unfolds in this process as it's happening. Even if there's not anything tangible that comes from it, what lesson am I learning? How I'm learning more about myself every time I hit a roadblock or a bump in the road. I'm learning more about myself. I'm getting the opportunity to practice what I preach. I'm getting the opportunity to work my mental muscle, to work the agility of my mind. That's what I'm doing. If that's the only gift, the only thing that I get out of this, I've already won, right? I've already won. I have surrendered myself to the possibility, to the unfoldment of what is happening right now. And I have allowed myself to be fully present in the moment and decide and make a choice right then and there. This is how I'm going to handle this. I want to see, this is what's happening, and that's cool. And I'm getting what I need out of this right now. I'm learning some things on a practical level, on a mundane level, and also on a higher level, right? Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, right? And I'm deciding in this moment, which way do I want to take this? How do I want to feel about it? What do I want to take from this experience? What experience do I want to have right now? And before I choose to shift the current experience, let me pull the information out of it now. Write it down, take a note on my phone, mentally log it, feel it in my cellular memory, and then I can start shifting it and saying, all right, now I want to see it do this. Moment by moment, we get to choose that for ourselves. Moment by moment, we get to choose that for ourselves. Energies will collide, and they might be peaceful collisions. It might be collisions that feel good, and sometimes it's going to be collisions that feel like crap. Sometimes it's going to be catastrophic collisions. Sometimes those collisions means that somebody is going to leave the physical body. But on this side and the other side, you still have a choice. You get to choose how you work with that energy. You get to choose how you deal with the emotion that that particular situation triggered for you. And it is in the choice and the activity that follows the choice that lands you in a different space or keeps you bound in the space where you were. Because I could have totally let those trip faux pas like clip me up. You know what I'm saying? I could have totally, been like, oh God, how's everything else gonna hang? How's everything gonna pan out? But you know what I said instead? Damn, this expo about to be lit. It's about to be on. Because if I'm going through all of this just to get here, it's going to be on. It's going to be lit. And guess what it was? It was amazing. We had an amazing time. Those of you who were there, we had a bomb ass time. And so every time something happened, I was like, all right, that's just another deposit. That's just another energetic deposit into the experience that I'm about to happen. That I'm about to have, and that's about to unfold and about to happen for me. Because guess what? That day, there were no bumps. No bumps. Even when we thought we were running late, guess what? We was there right on time. And I said, you know what? We're going to get there at the perfect time. And guess what we did? I walked in, saw M. Rain standing over there in the corner, was able to walk over there, hug my mentor, chatted up with her for a little bit, and set my stuff up. and had a fantastic time, had an amazing time, did very well at the expo. And guess what? It's still flowing in right now. Okay. Understanding energy, study it. Just study it. I'm telling you, the more you study it, the more you work it, and not just studying. People think reading a book is going to just help everything. But if you're not implementing what you're learning, and if you're not coming up with your own strategy, you know what I mean? Because see, you can learn and you can start doing exactly what somebody taught you, but if it doesn't activate a creative, energetic response within you, where you're like, that's cool, I like the way they did that, but I'm gonna try this thing because now I'm thinking. Now I'm using all of my tools to say that's a great way to do that, but let me try it this way. Now you're integrating. Now you're embodying. Now you're acting and operating as the goddess that you are. Now you're standing in your full authority. Now you're standing in your full power. Because now you're creating from that space. You said, I got this information and that worked cool, but I'm about to add this because I got a download that said, why don't you try it like this? Why don't you add that? Why don't you do this instead? Do it while you're walking, do it while you're talking, do it while you're driving, whatever, right? A lot of people take a bunch of classes, read a bunch of books, and they do not expand. They do not ascend. They do not grow. They're in the same damn place, right? Still thinking the same way, still having the same thought process, still having the same life experiences, still attracting the same types of people into their lives that do not feed them, that do not uplift them. And they're wondering, and they're saying, well, this stuff must not work because I've been doing this and it doesn't work. But are you making it your own? Who is singing out there? Are you making it your own? Are you turning it into your personal process, your personal practice? Because I can teach you a lot of stuff. I can. I got a lot of stuff to teach. Y'all go on my website. I'm an educator. I'm a teacher. I've always been a teacher. I come from a long line of teachers, right? That's what I'm here to do. My name means messenger, prophet. You know what I'm saying? I can teach you a lot of stuff, but if you're not practicing it, if you're not embodying it, if you're not taking it and breaking it down and looking at it and analyzing it and pulling out the parts that really, really work for you and then adding your stuff into it and making it your own, you're not going to see the results. I love when I work with my one-on-one clients and they say, you know what, I was listening to the hypnosis and I loved it. And this time, can we do this instead? I'm like, hell yeah, we can do that. I love when they do that. Some people would get offended like, well, what I did didn't work. No, that lets me know that you are so tapped in, tuned into your own energetic signature that you are allowing for those words to activate that creative burst inside of you, and you're answering the call and you're saying, oh, okay, I see where we going with this, but now what if we did it this way? That lets me know that you're doing the work, that you're open to the experience and you're embodying it and you're allowing it to penetrate deep within your cellular memory. Your cells are now responding and they're like, oh yes, that works. Let's do this too. That's creativity. That's being creative. That's allowing for things to unfold. That's understanding energy. Understanding the mind is the next part. Who are you? Because your mind is you, is a part of you. I do not like when people say, I am not my mind. Yes, listen. You may not be just your mind, but your mind is you. Just like your arm is you. My hand, that's me. This hair, I bought it. And guess what? It's mine. It's in my head. It's mine. But I'm not just this hair, right? I'm not just this hair. But somebody may describe me, but like, remember Shara? She's the one that had the long hair and, you know, whatever, big boobs. And there's a lot of people describe me, y'all. That's not cool. Y'all gonna describe me with big boobs and long hair? That's how y'all talk about me. You know, the one with the big boobs, the tall one, Kiki. But I could say, I am not my boobs. I am not my hair. I could say that. But they are me. It's a part of me. It's on me, right? So your mind is you. You are more than just your mind, but you are that too. When we start separating ourselves from ourselves, we are telling the subconscious mind to continue with your fragmentation, continue being broken apart, continue with your dissociation, continue picking yourself apart, pulling yourself apart. Put one part of you over here, one part of you over here, one part of you back here, right? You cannot become a powerful being if all parts of you are broken out. What brings that power is when you start to integrate. Integration is the key to mastery. Do you understand that? So when you start to appreciate your mind and work with your mind, work with your ego, work with all parts of you, work with your body. Don't hate and try to fight and try to kill off the cancer. Get to know the cancer, study the cancer, understand what the cancer is trying to tell you about your life, your emotions, where you are, where you've been, you know, what you're not doing. Because honestly, that's what it is. That extra growth in cancer is something trying to emerge that's being suppressed. What are you not doing? What are you not saying? Pay attention to the part of the body that it happens in. That's going to give you a lot of information. This is integrating. When you integrate your mind, your body, all parts of you, even the foreign stuff that's growing inside of you now, okay? When you study it, pay attention to it, ask it questions, get to know it. That is how you become the God, goddess. When you can give something a name, you have full power over it. Do you remember the tale of Rumpelstiltskin? What broke him down? See, I was a huge, and still am a huge, Grimm's fairy tale lover. I got a big old book of Grimm's, the real Grimm's fairy tales over there. Read that shit. That shit is powerful. Okay? But Rumpelstiltskin, they could not take him down. She couldn't get her baby back until she figured out his name. Once she named him, took all his power away. It's the same thing with our energy, right? Your emotions are energy. Your thoughts are energy. Your reactions are an energy. Your triggers are an energy. Name them. Learn how to name them. Learn to identify them. And you will then overpower them. Because once you've named it, then you start figuring out why it's there. Why did it come in the first place? What you're trying to show me, what you're trying to tell me. Now you're starting to decode. Now you're about to step in your mastery. Do you understand? This is why I talk about this stuff so much, because this is true power. You can burn a candle. Yes, they work. But if you have not identified the thing in you that keeps you from experiencing the experience you want to have, you can burn 50 million candles, baby. You're going to get a little bit of results, Sometimes you get a big result and it's going to slam back down and you're like, damn, what the fuck? And you have to keep starting over and starting over and starting over and starting over. You need to understand the thing inside you that must be named. You need to collide with that energy. Get to know that energy, understand it. Once I understood that, I was like, oh, okay. That tells me that there is not one thing in this world that I cannot do that I have already envisioned for myself. Because see, once you put the thought out there, it's out there. It's out there. Once the dream has been released from you and you've said it out loud, you thought about it, you visualizing it, it's done. It's already done. Now, the events that are going to take place in your life as you move into the space where you begin to experience the thing that you've envisioned that's already done, that's going to be your gauge. It's going to be the guiding point that lets you know what you need to do to continue on that path. You understand? Okay. Wherever you are currently in your life and you're saying, I want to be there, this is where I am right now, what do I have to do to get there? This part, the steps moving to there, is going to be the reflection back to you of what it is you need to shift, adjust, or if you're on the right track. I asked my spirit team just the other day, while I was in Atlanta, I was like, listen, is there anything that I need to shift, change, adjust in my life right now to move things on, move things further, or just not even about getting to another point? Is there anything that I need to shift inside of me? I ask myself that all the time. Hey, check in. What's up? Is it something I need to pay attention to? Am I being a certain type of way? Do I need to shift how I'm being? Do I need to pay attention to something? I'm always constantly checking in. And they were quiet. And I was like, yo, hey, y'all, did you hear me just ask a question? Is it something they were like, oh, we thought us being quiet meant, no, you're good. Keep doing what you're doing. Who is this? Okay, sorry, somebody tried to call me. I don't think I have anything scheduled today. I didn't look at it. I think I might have something going on today. I need to look at my schedule. I need to go. I think I'm supposed to be doing an interview right now. I'll call y'all back. I'll come back later. I love y'all. Bye.